Our next speaker, Eric Thomas, is the epitome of hustle, drive, determination, and success. Eric consults for Fortune 500 companies such as General Electric, AT&T, Nike, Under Armour, New Balance, and UPS. Eric has spoken at major universities and sports teams in the MLB, NBA, NFL, and MLS. Please welcome Eric as he trains on how to stay focused in turbulent times and how to work through dynamic change. Get your notebooks out for an incredible session. Let's welcome Mr. Eric Thomas.
What up, what up, what up, what up? It's your boy, E.T. Look, guys, I am super excited. Now, I need you to do me a favor, right? So I want this presentation to be different for you, right? So we're going to interact. Even though I can't be with you physically, like, we're still going to work together, right? So I need you to pull out a pen. I need you to pull out a pad, all right? All right, so here's what I want you to do for me. All right, let's just get started, all right? So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to write down the names of 2 or 3 people. Now, I'm not going to limit you, all right? But at least 2 or 3 people you love the most, all right? Write their names down. 2 or 3 people that you love the most. Like when you think about those people, you get super excited. You start to smile from ear to ear, right? You get motivated. You get excited. You'd be willing to do anything for this person, even die. Right? This is for me, my Dee Dee, right? My wife. This is my Jalen, my son. This is my Jada, my daughter, right? This is my Vanessa, my mom, all right? So that's where I want you to start. I want you to just write down the name of those people that have your heart. They warm your heart, all right? I want you to write their names down. All right, now here's what I want you to do for me. Okay, and so I want you to write down whatever your dreams and your goals are, especially as it relates to them. You know, I was telling somebody recently as a high school dropout, somebody that was homeless and lived in abandoned buildings, that the drive you see now and the passion that you see, like I didn't always have that. I'll be honest. I don't know that while I might have been born with it, I sure didn't tap into it. But it was the year of 1995. It was July 20th. Right? I remember my son Jalen being born. And when I tell you guys, I had gotten my GED, went to college, got kicked out, was on academic probation. I went back, finished a 4-year degree, got the master's, the PhD. Jalen gave me a drive, right? My wife and I got my credit up. We bought our first home, our second home. We just purchased our third home. Jalen gave me that drive, guys. That drive I didn't have before. So that's why I'm saying to you, because what I've realized is that sometimes in life, the people that mean the most to us, like they give us a gear that we didn't have before, a drive that we didn't have before, passion that we didn't have before. So the reason why I ask you to write their names down is because I'm just going to be honest. There are those of us who said this year we were going to lose weight and we didn't. Why? Because if the only person you have to answer to is yourself, sometimes it's not enough. Like for real, you'll make a goal for yourself and sometimes you won't keep it. But when you start saying I'm going to do this for my son or I'm going to do this for my daughter, it gives you a drive. It gives you energy. Like it gives you a get up and go that you didn't have before. So again, I want you to write their names down. Then I want you to just write down the goals as it relates to this company. All right? As it relates to this company, what are the things that you could do for your family that you couldn't do if you didn't work here? Like what are the things that you couldn't accomplish on your own? I want you to think about that. Why? Because I don't think you need a new job or I don't think you need to do something outside of sales. That's not it. I think what you need, though, is a new perspective. Like what I think you need is a way to look at life in a way you weren't looking at life before. Like the reason why you're giving 50% sometimes, 70% sometimes, the reason why you're not giving 120 is because of who you're doing it for. If you're doing it for a check, sometimes that's just not enough. Or it's enough for the first year or the first 5 years. It's not enough for 10. Or it might be enough when everything is going well. But when things get rocky like this pandemic, it's not enough. So I want you to write down who. And I want you to think about them day and night, in the morning, in the afternoon, at night. Instead of coffee, because coffee doesn't always give you that intrinsic value you need to do what you do. Instead of coffee, instead of a soda or pop, whatever you call it, instead of a Pepsi or a Coke, like I want you to be driven by your loved ones. Now, here's what I want you to ask yourself. What would happen if you didn't have this opportunity? What would happen if you weren't in sales? What would happen if you weren't doing this particular work in the medical field? What would happen to the ones you love? And now what would happen for them and to them if we gave 120%? Now, I want you to do me a favor, all right? So you've written their names down. Right? I just got a couple things I want to share with you. Number one, I want to share with you, control your destiny. Come on, come on, come on. Look, the difference between giving 120, the difference in doing the same work you're doing right now, but not do it average, not do it good, but to be able to do it in a great way. The only difference is we're not being controlled, we're controlling. Okay, so what do you mean by that? So when you get to my level, right, I start doing TGIM. Thank God. What up, what up, what up? It's your boy E.T. Bring it from the bottom. Thank God it's Monday. Like I start doing that every Monday. Now, when did I start? I started in 2007, 2008 when we had a recession, right? I was actually in Michigan, now born in Chicago. But for the most part, I spent the majority of my life as a young man in Detroit. And so I don't know if you remember the first recession, but it hit Ford, GM, and Chrysler. So there were literally people in Michigan committing suicide. There were literally people in Michigan like having mental breakdowns, right? We were going through it in the state of Michigan. And I asked myself, as an American, as somebody that grew up in a country that there are so many opportunities, it's like, you got to do your part. And so I started going online, and listen to me, I control listen to me very closely, I control the pandemic at that time. I controlled it, right? We were in a recession. I controlled it. Instead of thinking about it in a negative way, instead of talking to people about it in a negative way, instead of feeling like a victim, I was like, yo, control your destiny. You can get on every Monday and you can put out a positive message. And I started putting out a positive message, and people start responding to it. People were listening to it regularly. People who had failed a bar exam, pumped up, taking it again. People with cancer, listening to it through chemotherapy. People who were getting a divorce, got back. Like my video, I took control. And all of a sudden, putting up videos on YouTube for free, I became a YouTube sensation and eventually became the #1 motivational speaker in the world. Eventually started doing the NFL, the NBA, started doing corporate work, voiceovers, schools. Like I started getting endorsements from a different, are you hearing what I'm saying? I took control of my destiny. I need you to take control of your destiny. I need you to stop being a victim. I need you to stop looking at things from a negative perspective, and I need you to say, I will take control. I will not let something or someone take control of me. I will take control. I say it, I will take control. I will control my destiny. And I went from doing YouTube, which wasn't popular at the time. I went from doing free videos on YouTube to now being one of the #1 motivational speakers and #1 consulting company in the world. Because I control my own narrative. Because I control my destiny. Are you hearing what I'm saying? It is time for us. We already live in a great country. We already work. Come on, you work for a phenomenal organization. You do meaningful and phenomenal work. Are you hearing me? It's time to take control. All right, so here's the first thing I need you to do for me. Change your language. Change the language. Change the language. Stop saying pandemic. Pandemic was like in March. Like you can't say pandemic in March, in April, in May. Like you can't keep saying pandemic. Why? Because if you say pandemic, it has a negative connotation and you're going to get negative outcomes. Come on, come on, come on, come on. What you need to say, you say, what do I need to say? Well, I want you to, like, free will, make up your own thing, but I'm going to tell you what I said. After March, after April, I was like, okay, May, this thing don't like it's going nowhere. I can't watch CNN all day. I can't watch Fox all day. I can't watch CNBC all day because all I keep hearing about, is this pandemic, and all I keep hearing about is this loss and this lack. And I keep seeing numbers of people who have coronavirus and then those who died, and the numbers are going like 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000. Like, and at some point, it was just getting overwhelming, right? And so I had to come up with my own name for it, right? And so instead of saying pandemic, I said this is a pause on greatness and time to be phenomenal. I said I'm putting a pause on greatness. Something has come. I got to put a pause on greatness so I can get to phenomenal. What am I saying to you? I had to shift my perspective. And what I realized is that there are some areas that used to be great for me that no longer exist. That lane is no longer open. But we still live in America. There's still wealth in this country. There's still phenomenal resources in this company. There's still fiscal, material, and human resources. Like we have not lost. Everything is not lost. There is a shift. Oh, you missed what I said. There is a shift. And so the life that I once knew does not exist anymore. As the #1 motivational speaker in the world, I can't travel to Houston on plane. I can't travel to Dallas. I can't travel to Charlotte. I can't go to New Orleans. I can't go to Chicago. I can't go to New York. I can't go to San Antonio. I can't go to California. I can't go to San Diego. I can't go to LA. Are you hearing me? Greatness that I once knew was over, and it was time to put a pause on that and shift. Why? Because the resources or the way I used to do things, that methodology has to be shifted. The way in which I do things have to shift. I'm doing it now in a studio. Things had to shift. But it didn't mean that those opportunities were gone. Stop saying pandemic. I say phenomenal. Stop saying pandemic. I said there was a pause on greatness. And now there's an opportunity to be phenomenal. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Change the language. First, think about those you love every single day. Think about the things that you could do for them. Think about the life that they could have in this country. And know that in other countries, it does not matter who you work for. It does not matter how hard you work. It does not matter because the opportunities in third world countries don't exist. There are opportunities that still exist for us. It's just a shift. It's just a shift. And we've got to change our perspective so we can see the shift. It's not that it's not there. Change your glasses, boo. Change your glasses. You've got the wrong ones on, or put some glasses on. There are still opportunities. All right, so number two. Number two, never let a good crisis go to waste. Now, for those of you who don't know, the origin of this quote, it's from, yours truly, Winston Churchill, who was actually in England at a time when Hitler was trying to annihilate Great Britain as it was known. All of their history, their traditions, their customs, he wanted to annihilate, take over, destroy. And so Winston Churchill, in an ability, right, with the ability to get his people to shift their perspective, not to see Hitler, not to see the war, not to see themselves as victims, but Victor said, look, never let a good crisis go to waste. And so it was about 5 years ago that my wife was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. I'll never forget the day she called home. I'll never forget the day she called me and was like, something's wrong, right? We went to our physician and we found out that next week that she had multiple sclerosis. Listen to me very closely. Never let a good crisis go to waste. This phenomenal season, remember, I'm not calling it that other thing. All right. This phenomenal season, although it's going to say goodbye to some things I once knew, and I have to pivot, I have to make some adjustments. There are great things all around me. And so guess what? And so I had to look at my wife being diagnosed with MS. I had to look at it as a good crisis. Why? Because if we looked at it in a negative way, let me just explain to you the two choices that I had, right? So the first choice, the physician began to explain to me that because she had 7 lesions on her brain, right, what that could do to her memory, short-term, long-term. What that could do to her cognitive functionality. Yeah, that's what she explained. What it could do to her spinal cord, meaning that, 1, she could be forgetful to the point that, okay, we won't go there. 2, with her spinal cord, that the messages from her brain would not travel to her spinal cord properly, right? And it means that she could be in a wheelchair. She could use the use of her arms or use the use of her legs, or it could alter her mobility. Come on, it could change her eyesight. Listen to me, guys. When I walked out the room, I had a choice. I had a choice to listen to that and believe that, or say, never let a good crisis go to waste. Never let a good crisis go to waste. We're going to actually take this chronic illness and we're going to use it to our advantage and not to our disadvantage. Oh, you're not hearing what I'm saying. Never let a good crisis go to waste. I'm not talking about a progressive, phenomenal season. I'm talking about somebody who was diagnosed factually with multiple sclerosis. So I looked at all of the opportunities, not the obstacles. I looked at all the strengths and not the weaknesses. I saw the good. Let's spend more time together. I saw the good. I'll go to every doctor's appointment. I'll go to every eye exam. I'll go to every MRI. Whatever you do, I'll do it. When you give yourself the injection in the left arm, in the right arm, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'll be right there with you. Are you listening to what I'm saying? I'll squeeze your hand. I'll distract you when you have to give yourself the shot. Are you listening to what I'm saying? I looked at all the opportunities, not the obstacles. I looked at all the strengths and not the weaknesses. I looked at eventually you can leave your job, you can retire early, and you can come help me at the church. You can help me with the company. We can travel the world together. As a matter of fact, now that you don't have this 9 to 5, we can have a home in Michigan, and in the wintertime, we can have a home in California. I looked at all the opportunities and not the threats. I gave all my energy to the opportunity. I gave all my energy to the strengths. I did not give my energy to the weaknesses or the threats. And your problem is, all you talking about is the threats. All you talking about are the obstacles. I want you to do me a favor. Take a piece of paper right now. Write down the middle. Now do me a favor for those of you, you're negative Nancy's. If you want to write down all the negatives, go for it. But what I want you to do is look at all the possibilities. Yes, there has to be a shift perhaps in the way you sell. Yes, there has to be a shift in your methodology. Yes, there has to be a shift perhaps in your training and development. Yeah, but do you understand how many opportunities exist? Do you understand how many opportunities there? I need you to look at opportunity. I need you to look at strengths. All right, so I want to share something with you guys. So I had the opportunity, I told you, to move to California. We closed on our home, I think it was the month of June, right? Listen to me, do me a huge favor. Never let a good crisis go to waste. So when there is a crisis, you have to look at the good side of the crisis, and you got to get connected to the good, to the positive, to the opportunities, right? So we move into our home in California. Unfortunately, during that time frame, because of what was going on in the world, the service workers they were like weeks behind. And so we wanted to get Wi-Fi in the home. So I chose, because I work with a particular company, we brought that company by. But they were like, look, we won't be able to be there for about 3 weeks. Now, I had work to do for the NBA. Of course, they were going into the bubble. And I was fortunate enough to be one of the first speakers that addressed them when they went in the bubble, right? And so I needed my internet to work, right? So guys, so a friend of mine from that company sent me over a little box, and that box produced a little Wi-Fi, but it was choppy. I couldn't be all over the house, right? And I had to be in a certain little spot, right? And sometimes it was sketchy to go on and to go off, right? But finally the company came and they set me up. Now, this is what they told me. They told me, you do have Wi-Fi. You have a pretty large home, and so you're going to have to get extenders because the Wi-Fi won't necessarily travel in different parts of the room without that device. I need you to understand what I'm saying. He said, you need extenders, right? Because there's more space. And I said, okay, well, I heard I'm getting the fiber optic. He said, look, I got to be honest with you. The fiber optic doesn't work best when it's Wi-Fi. You at max, you'll get about 600, right? But he said, but listen to me. If you're able to connect it with an Ethernet cord, you'll get to 1,000. Oh, come on. Gigabytes. You'll get about 600, right? But when you connect that, 1,000. So watch this, guys. So I went to Best Buy, and I bought an Ethernet cord. Yep, I bought an Ethernet cord, right? And I connected the Ethernet cord, boom, to the router. And I took, boom, the other one, and I put it to the computer. Woo, woo, woo. When I tell you, woo, when I did the NBA, they were like, woo, that is Chris. I was outside, California sun. The sun reflecting. I had the speed. I had the clarity, right? Listen to what I'm saying. In a phenomenal season where there's a shift, you got to stay connected to the positive. You got to get up and meditate. You got to listen to Eric Thomas. You got to listen to Les Brown. You got to listen to Zig Ziglar. You got to listen to all the other. You got to connect with the people that see the good. You got to connect with the people that's coming to work, excited to work, pumped up to work. They see the opportunity. You got to stop hanging with the negative Nancy's. You got to stop hanging with the people at the job that only see the negative, and that's all they talk about, and they're bringing the energy down. You got to go in the room and you got to start hanging with people that see all the opportunities. You got to stay connected to the vision of the company. You got to stay connected to leadership, right? You can't have conversations that taking you in one direction. You got to get connected. I can only get to 1,000. I could only get the 1,000 if I was connected to the router. Who are you connected to? What are you connecting with? Who are you connected to? What are you connecting with? And when my wife got MS, all I saw was more time to exercise, more time to travel, more time to see the world, more time to spend with our children, more time at the church, more time at the company, more time together, more time to buy a home, more time to shop. I just saw more. I didn't see the wheelchair. I didn't see her losing her eyesight. I didn't see her losing the use of her limb. I didn't see the negative. What are the opportunities right now in the medical field? What are the opportunities in sales? What can you do now that you couldn't do 2 years ago? What can you do now that didn't exist 6 months ago? What can you do? What can you do? What are the opportunities? Okay, I got one more for you, but before we go there, in the confrontation between the stream and the rock, the stream always wins. Not through strength, but by perseverance. Do me a favor, set a goal in this time. Instead of watching the news, instead of listening to what other people say, set a goal. Get with leadership. What's the goal? Set a goal. Wake up every day. Put your energy on that goal. Listen to me. In the confrontation between the stream and the rock, a rock, y'all, that's huge. That's settled. Who wins? The stream wins. Why? Not through strength, but by perseverance. High school dropout, homeless, high school dropout, homeless, living in abandoned buildings, cars, eating out of trash cans, house to house. The stream wins. Why? I persevered. GED, 4-year degree. Took me 12 years. Master's degree, PhD. Persevere. We will get through this. This will not last forever. But the question is, if it lasts for 6 months, what are you doing in the 6 months? What are you doing every day? What are you doing every week? What are you doing every month? What are you doing? What are you doing from month to month? The question is not that Eric Thomas is going to get older. You know I'm going to get older. That's not the question. But the question is, what are you going to do in the 90s, 4-year degree? What are you going to do in the early 2000s? Master's degree. What are you going to do in the 2050, the PhD? What are you going to do? Write books. What are you going to do? Put up videos. Listen to me. The stream, persevere. This will not last forever. But the question is, what will you produce? What will you produce in the midst of? And who will you be when it's over? And if all you're doing is looking at the weaknesses, if all you're doing is looking at the threats, if all you're doing is talking negative, instead of coming to work and getting with your team members, getting with your staff members, and working together, talking to leadership, getting goals, coming up with new strategies, reading books, listening to podcasts, exercising, mental exercise, physical exercise, looking at the data, analyzing the data, being a critical thinker and looking at these times and saying, how can we pivot? What can we switch? What can we do better? What can we do different? We can persevere. This isn't our first pandemic. This is the first challenge we've had as a country, and it won't be the last. The question is not about this particular season. The question is, how will you respond? Who are you? Everybody want to be a beast. Everybody want to be a beast until it's time to do what real beasts do. Everybody want to dream. Everybody want to go. But listen to me. It's not until you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe that you'll be successful. You've got to want, even in this current circumstance and situation, while people are contracting the virus, while people are dying, even in the midst of this, you still get to make decisions. You still get to make choices. Even in the midst of this, will you persevere? Will you get through? Take your pain and use your pain to push you to greatness. Don't use your pain to be negative. Don't use your pain to be destructive. Use your pain to take yourself and this company to the next level. In the confrontation between the stream and the rock, yes, there's confrontation. Yes, there's a rock, but you beat that rock up every single day. You show up every single day, and you beat that rock a little here, a little there. Remember, small steps, great distances. Small steps, great distances. You beat that rock, and the stream always wins. Why? Not through strength, but by perseverance. Come on. I want you to stop and say, I will persevere. Come on. I will persevere. Come on. I will persevere. I will not get on the other side. I will be bigger, better, stronger, with broader shoulders. I will be bigger, better, bolder, with broader shoulders. Are you hearing me? I'll be bigger, I'll be better, I'll be broader, with broader shoulders. Guys, are you hearing what I'm saying? We're not only trying to get on the other side, we're trying to be better on the other side. I will persevere. I will stand strong. I will survive. I can, I will, I must. I can, I will, I must. I can, I will, I must. I can because I have the ability to. I will because I'm strong enough. I must because somebody's counting on me. One more time. I can because I have the ability to. I will because I'm stronger than this rock. And I will persevere. I must because somebody's counting on me. Are you hearing me? Somebody's counting on me. And finally, guys, execute. Listen to me. In the midst of everything that's going on, what's the goal? What's the 2020 goal? Execute, 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 and in the midst of adversity, execute. Come on, guys. We got paid, and we get paid. We got an interview, and we got hired. We got trained, and we went out. And we didn't just get trained to be able to do it when everything was going well. We are professionals. I train my teachers all the time. And I say to my teachers, listen to me very closely. I'm not training you to only be able to do well in the classroom. There's nothing about the classroom that's magical. There's nothing about this building that's magical. There's nothing about these books that's magical. What's magical is the exchange between a student and a teacher. And I am a professional teacher. My degrees, I was trained to be an educator. I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if it's storming. I don't care if it's a tornado, a hurricane. I don't care if we're in the building, not in the building. I don't care if we're online, offline. I don't care if we're on the phone. I don't care if we're in the alley, if we're in the store. I am a professional. And I will execute, execute, execute. And in the midst of adversity, I will execute. You are a professional. You're a professional. You were made to sail during these times. You were made to sail. You were made to thrive during these times. Everybody loves the sun. But can you stand the rain? This is what we were trained to do. This is what we were born to do. This is our time. Fourth quarter. Come on, fourth quarter down by 6 points. This is what every quarterback has dreamed of, what every running back has dreamed of, what every wide receiver, what every defender to pick up the ball and run it for a touchdown. The ninth inning, 2 outs, 3 balls, 2 strikes. You're on the plate. It's bases loaded. You're down by 3. This is what every baseball player has dreamed of, hitting a home run and knocking it out the park. This is what you were made for. This is what you were trained for, prepared for. This is your season. This is the time for leaders. This is the time for leaders. This is the time for leaders. This is the time for pros. This is the time for pros. This is the time for pros. This is the time for greats. This is where legacy is created. Legacy is drafted. This is where history is made. Execute, execute, execute. In the midst of adversity, stand up and execute. This country needs you. Don't you dare withdraw. Don't you dare surrender. Don't you dare give up. Your family needs you. Your spouse needs you. My wife needs me now more than she ever needed me before. This is not the time to look at adversity and shrink. As I looked at my wife in that hospital room and we walked out, all I could think of was in sickness and in health. And for 25 years, she was in health. Maybe the next 25 is in sickness. I signed up for it. This is what I signed up for. Anybody can love people when they're well. Everybody can, in sickness and in health. Everybody can love folks when they're in health. But now that she has a chronic illness, however she needs me, this is my time to show up. Lights, camera, action. This is my time to show up. It's not my time to shrink. This is not my time to get a separation or a divorce. This is not my time to be fearful or afraid. This is my time to step up to the plate. It's your time to step up to the plate. America needs us more than they've ever needed us before. This country needs us more essential workers, moms, dads, teachers, firefighters, plumbers, electricians, neighbors. If we ever needed to come together, we need to come together now. So do not shrink. Do not give up. Do not give in. This, my friend, is the time to execute. This is what you were trained for. This is what you were trained for. Stand up and say, I can, I will, I must. I can, I will, I must. Remember, short distances, short steps, great distances. Short steps, great distance. If it was easy, everybody would do it. It's not going to be easy, but you have what it takes. So do me a favor. Please make the rest of your life the best of your life.